Alrighty, let's get started. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today for the Master of Arts in Music Industry Information session. We have a plethora of exciting content to cover, but before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Omar Perez. I'm an online enrollment advisor for You Online, and I cover many of the graduate programs that we host, especially focus on assisting our incredible prospective music students with the admissions process. And I hope that today's presentation will guide you in making the best decision for your career. My co-host, Andrea Jimenez, will be coming on in a few moments. So before we begin, there are a few housekeeping items to go over. So you'll notice the information session will be about 45 minutes in length. If you have to leave early or you got here late, take a break, etc., no worries, it'll be recorded. And also, we want to ensure that the presentation is relevant to you. So if you have any specific questions for our panelists, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my awesome co-host, Andrea Jimenez. Take it away, Andrea.
Hey, Omar, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. It is great to meet everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be with us here today to learn all about the music industry program that we have here at the Frost School of Music at the University of Miami. My name is Andrea Jimenez. I am the director of online programs at the Frost School of Music, and I am all things liaising and supporting you while you're here between our faculty, between our incredible student success advocate and Omar, and I'm just part of the team. So with that said, in this session, we're going to be talking to the program director, Frost faculty, and we will hear from an alumni from the program. And then we're going to end it off with a Q&A section. So use that Q&A feature that you have in Zoom, and please ask away any questions you may have for us. Without further ado, I'm going to now bring on Professor Serona Elton, director of the program. Also, she is a faculty. So Serona, please take it away.
Thank you, Andrea. Hi, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me, and then I actually have a really short 4-slide presentation to show you to give you some core information about the program. So as Andrea said, I am the director of the program, and that is the online master's in music industry, but also the on-campus degree. We treat these kinds of programs very similarly. They run by the same people. And so I run both programs. In addition to that, our undergraduate programs as well. And what's very exciting for me is I am an alumni of this master's degree. So a long time ago, I pursued this degree on campus and then went to go and work for a major record company in New York. And much of my career has been spent working at major record companies. I worked for that company in New York for 8 years, and I also went to law school at night while I was working. So I have a real understanding of what it's like to have a full-time job and then also be pursuing a graduate degree. I can relate to what you are all considering. So I worked there for 8 years and then decided to relocate back to South Florida, where I grew up. Pursued some other legal things until I then came to teach at the University of Miami. I started teaching here in 2006. And since then, I've always kept sort of had my main life in academia, but also always had additional work that I was doing in the music industry for many years. That involved working for Sony Music. It involved working for Universal Music. It involved working for Warner Music. And now my external work involves working for an organization you'll learn about in your classes called the Mechanical Licensing Collective that pays out a certain kind of music royalties generated by streaming. So that's not uncommon, that dual life. In fact, most of our faculty, I think all of our faculty, are what we like to call pracademics, practicing academics. They both teach and they're very active in the industry. That's really part of the culture here at the Frost School. And so in addition to that, I actually am a textbook writer, one of the leading textbooks in the music industry that's used in many music industry programs around the country, and in some of our classes is a book that I took over. I'm very proud of that. As well. So if you want to learn more about me, you can check out my website, seronaelton.com, for everything you want to know there. But enough about me. let's talk about the program. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. I have, like I said, just a few short slides that I think might tackle a lot of the core first off questions you have so that we can then build on that. So first, some fast facts about the program. So our on-campus degree was started back in 1966. And so there was one program before us that really almost nobody knows about, but we were really sort of the pioneers in what you might think of as a real modern music industry degree. So 1966, we're coming up on a big anniversary next year in 2026. In 2014, more than 10 years ago, we launched the online version of our graduate program. So we have been doing this for a while as well. Every time Billboard Magazine has published a list of top music business programs, we have been in there. That list does tend to focus on undergrad degrees, I will be honest, but our brand is so strong, right? When people think about music business, music industry education, the Frost School is one of those top schools that they think of, and we're very proud of that reputation. It serves our alumni very, very well. We also keep in touch with our alumni and help our current students to keep in touch with our alumni. We have a private LinkedIn alumni group with over 1,000 members, and we use it very, very actively to keep in touch and to let alumni know about job opportunities. We have a very, very active LinkedIn alumni group that you would join right when you become a student. So let me tell you a little bit about the curriculum itself. That's got to be one of your core questions, right? So overall, the degree is 30 credits long. That's how many you have to take to complete the degree. And it's made up of several different component parts. So the first are some very specific courses that you have to take. And that makes up half of the degree, 15 credits, that comes in the form of 5 3-credit courses. And so those are music copyright, music publishing, the recorded music operations class, music industry agreements. So those are sort of your 4 core subject classes. And then at the very end, you will either do an internship or you will do a music industry project course. So every student takes all of these courses. And they have to be taken in a certain order as well from a prerequisite perspective. And our advisors help everybody know exactly what to take and when. Then the next component to the degree is some electives. So you will take 6 credits through 2 3-credit courses of music industry elective courses. We have several of those that we consider part of the music industry program, but also you get to tap into courses that are part of our sister program, our live entertainment management master's degree. You can take many of those courses as your electives. So we've got a good selection of electives to choose from for your MIN electives. And then you get another 9 credits through 3-credit courses in just general electives that we have to offer. So your curriculum is made up of these 3 component pieces: specific required courses, some music industry live entertainment management electives, and some general electives. And then one of the very, very last things you will do is take what we call a cumulative exit exam. It's an online exam that you take once you're finished with your last class, but before you graduate, that just makes sure that you've really come away from the degree with that core knowledge that we would sort of expect you to have and keep throughout your whole career. So that's how the curriculum is comprised. Just a little bit more info. So you might be asking, what are you going to come away with in terms of knowledge? And in academic speak, we call those learning outcomes. And so we bucket them into three categories. So the first is music copyright. You are really going to come away with a clear understanding of how copyright applies to musical works. That's another word for songs or compositions, sound recordings, how copyright infringement works, the length of protection, international treaties, everything you really need to know about how copyright law applies to music. And that's so important because that really is the driving factor behind so much of the way the music industry works. The second outcome is music publishing. You're going to learn all about music licensing, royalties, publishing agreements, and how a song catalog or a composition catalog is commercially exploited. You know, how you monetize those songs and musical compositions. And then the last key outcome is about the recorded music industry, understanding how content is created, distributed, and marketed. And that includes, through different courses, understanding how those royalties are calculated and how those contracts work. So it's sort of very much the parallel to the music publishing outcome. So these are sort of the three core things that you will absolutely come away with. And then depending on the extra electives that you take, certainly there'll be other learning outcomes as well, but we consider these three to be core to the degree. From a skills perspective, there's a whole list of skills that you're going to be coming away with based on the different assignments you've had to complete in your classes. So that includes preparing analysis, working in Excel, music metadata, calculating royalties, reading legal agreements, using some industry data analytics tools, like one called Chartmetric you might have heard of. You'll be writing papers, creating paid online advertisements if you take our music marketing course, and many more, right? So all of our different courses have different kinds of assignments, and those assignments will help you develop different skills that are going to serve you well in your career. So last slide, I told you it was just 4 short slides. I want to talk a little bit about some of the qualities that we are looking for in students that really excel in this program. So you really have to have a strong passion for the music industry. And that's what that MIND, M-I-N-D, is our acronym for music industry. This field requires significant passion. Nobody ever goes into the music industry because it's really easy to get a job and the salaries are really high. And, you know, you really hardly ever have to work even 40 hours a week. The work-life balance is a piece of cake. Said nobody ever of the music industry. Okay. I'm just going to tell you straight up. This is a hard industry, but it is so rewarding if you are really passionate about music, right? It really just, without that passion, this industry can chew you up and spit you out. But if you have that passion, as you can probably tell that I do, you can thrive and have an outstanding career and a happy life and find work-life balance. But it's not an easy industry, right? You have to have a strong passion for learning, a natural curiosity. This is a graduate level degree. You're going to probably hear me say that a few times. And so you really have to want to learn, right? No one's going to be calling you up saying, you know, hey, I noticed you weren't in class on Tuesday. Why weren't you there? You know, no, you're an adult. This is a graduate program. You're in this program because you want to be, right? That's why you take it. So you have to have that strong passion for learning. You will have to be detailed oriented. You're going to have to keep track of assignments and deadlines, right? There are details to pay attention to. Some of your assignments are going to involve writing. And, you know, writing, that written communication skill, I couldn't even count on a daily basis how many emails I send that are a paragraph, right, long. They're not just 2 or 3 words. And I have to be able to effectively communicate. So writing assignments are critical. Critical. So, you know, in a graduate program, you have to expect you're going to be doing some writing. You don't have a big thesis. That's not what's involved in this. You're not writing like a, you know, 500-page term paper or something or thesis, but you will have assignments that require you to be able to communicate effectively in writing. Business tech skills. And by that, I mean things like being able to use Microsoft Office. So you're going to have assignments that use Excel or PowerPoint, right? Things like that. You're going to need to have strong skills for that or develop them pretty quickly. And you're going to need them in the workplace as well. As I mentioned with that detailed oriented stuff, you know, that's like if you have an assignment and there's 5 pieces to it, you don't want to miss one of those pieces, right? You have to pay attention to those details. That includes those deadlines and balancing your schedule. We can talk about that in a little while, and our alumni joining us might talk about that a little bit with Andrea about how to balance. You know, many of you probably have a job already, full-time or part-time. You may also be balancing family obligations and you're trying to figure out how are you going to add this to the mix. It is totally doable, but there are some tricks to it. So we're going to come back to that in a minute, but scheduling and managing that schedule is going to be a really key part of success in the program. Last point from me here, what kind of careers does this degree prepare you to go into? There are lots. So some of these you've maybe heard of, some of these maybe you haven't, right? A lot of our alums, both from the online and our on-campus degrees, go and work at record labels. They work at music publishers. Eventually, once they learn how it all works, they might start their own labels and their own publishing companies, right? They might work at what we call collective rights management organizations. As you take some of these courses, you'll learn about some companies that you may not even know exist right now, whose job it is to collect money from one type of company and pay it out to rights holders. So we have lots of people working in organizations like that. Artist management companies, digital distributors who help artists and labels get that music up on those digital services, digital music services like Spotify and Amazon, talent agencies, concert promoters, and concert venues, right? Those last three are really what I call, or I consider them to be in the live entertainment space. But the truth is, this industry students that have taken a number of electives in live entertainment management, sometimes they end up working in live entertainment management, and that is a-okay. We have that as an option for you, right? So these are the kinds of places that you might find yourself working at, or even one day starting once you finish this degree. So that was my last slide. Let me go ahead, come out of screen share and kick it back to Andrea.
Thank you so much, Serona. Appreciate you. Ray, if you would like to please join me on camera and let's tell the folks a little bit about you, your role in the program, how you started this whole thing, and what you teach here with us online and on campus, just like Serona.
Yep. Well, thank you. Thank you, Andrea and Serona. That was great. As always, it's amazing to get to work with colleagues like this, folks. Just very amazing. I've been here as a professor since 2001. Prior to that, I've spent over 20 years fully self-employed in the music business as a producer, musical director, touring guitarist, publisher. I actually own two different publishing catalogs. One I co-own with Sony Music, and been involved in the creative side of the business pretty much since I started while I was still in college. I'm a guitarist, and I said a producer, a songwriter. So I come from a different side. It's music business is kind of that two-headed beast. You have all the creative people, and then all the people that make things run and work, because otherwise nobody gets paid. And I'd like to think I have a little bit of both going on. But the main class that I teach in the music industry program, I actually teach two classes, but music copyright is my intellectual passion. Because I'm a creative person, there is just so much to think about when you think about something like copyright. It's an esoteric topic, but it's essential to understanding everything that happens. In fact, there is no music business. We're not even here talking about this today, if not for music copyright. So you can tell I'm very passionate about that. I also teach the entrepreneurship class, the music entrepreneurship class, which is in this program an elective. It's not a requirement, but a lot of folks have taken that in the past, and that is drawn for my experience in the industry. By the way, I still have my company. I'm still making records, so still involved in all of this. At one time, before Professor Elton, I was director of the program. Now I serve as a professor in the program. I'm also one of the associate deans at the School of Music. So that's basically it. I look forward to seeing some of you in class, hopefully all of you. And, feel free to put any questions up that you may have.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you. So we are going to get to know the amazing alumni that we have here with us today, Jada. Jada, can you please join me?
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you, Jada, again for being here. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. My name is Jada Finch. I am a fellow alumni of the program. I attended it around December 2022 to November 2023. And I have to say that after graduating, I interned at a label. And from there is when things definitely took off for me. I ended up becoming not only director of publishing and commerce, but they brought me in as a shareholder slash partner to a company called Midtown Radio and Records. That's where I am currently under Michael DeBarge. And along with that, I kind of do a lot of things in the music industry. I'm also head of A&R of a Detroit production company. And I'm also a songwriter and a singer myself. So I think I was able to utilize this program to really train and really, just use it to help my life skills and just advance from there. So
What have you not done? Awesome intro. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about, so let's go back.
Okay.
What made you decide to even pursue a music industry graduate degree?
Okay, so I got my marketing degree in undergrad. I worked in corporate America, I worked in retail, and I also got signed to an acting agency. I love the entertainment industry, but it made me realize music is where my heart is. And I wanted to find a way to just continue learning. And you hear the phrase a lot of being a student to the game. And that was one of my ways of doing that. And I literally came across the program just off of a whim. And I ended up applying. And just from there, that was what happened. And I was just excited for the process of just applying in general, and getting into the school was very, very exciting. Did I answer that?
You did.
Okay.
You went from there and you told us why you decided it. So we appreciate that. What did you, so okay, now let's talk about your experience in the program. What did you enjoy most in the program, and your decision to pursue it online? Because yes, as Professor Elton mentioned, we have an on-campus equivalent, but what did you enjoy most, and that online feel and component as you being one of our online students? Talk about that experience, please.
So really with all of the classes, I love the asynchronicity, specifically because when it came to doing the projects and getting to be as creative as I could. Like for instance, I know we did a recording budget, and I want to say we also did like a CD design. Like doing creative projects like those really allow you to be as creative while also taking in and making sure that you're able to show the information that you had retained from those classes. Even just reading record contracts or learning about some copyright cases, just being immersed in all this that you can't really get in a normal class. So I would say just in general, the hands-on activities of being able to just showcase, showcase what I'm capable of. And I have to say it definitely was something that made my portfolio look good as well. So I was able to use those as references when applying when I graduated. So yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then in terms of while you were with us in the program, going to grad school, managing the courses, Professor Elton made us, gave a little bit of light in terms of, well, we'll hear from the alumni as to what those demands look like, because you all have personal lives too. You have professional lives that you're also managing and quite frankly, balancing. How
Yes.
were you able to do that? Tips, pro tips in terms of you being able to do that so that so that you could produce the portfolio you were looking to produce at the end of this program?
I have to say, during the program, I spent a lot of time at the library. Get familiar with your library, what they offer, because the free rooms, the quiet time, making sure that you prioritize your quiet time, whether that's studying, whether that's reading musical things to help strengthen the knowledge that you're already learning in the program. I would say literally just the act of applying the action to going to a quiet space that's not your actual place where you rest at, because you can be at home, but it might not put you in the mind space to actually be productive and do work. And I have to say, I would be at the library until like nighttime, genuinely just enjoying learning all this information when it came to music, even down to the point where I'm reading Forbes magazine now, and what else? It's another magazine in my head that I Rolling Stone, stuff like that that makes you like, oh, okay. Now I'm actually a student in the program as well as being able to immerse myself with all of the free resources on top of that. So I think just the act of putting your mind in that positive mindset, which is like this is almost like an escape. Like I'm obviously in this program for a reason to use my creativity. So, let's bridge that gap.
I had never heard anyone put it that way, that school can be this outlet. I love that because I resonate with it personally. So,
Yeah.
and love that you said that. So in terms of handling the demands of everything else going on in your life,
Yes.
or feeling like this outlet, how were you still able to handle everything else that you had responsibilities for?
How was I able to handle? I would say a calendar,
Mm,
taking the time to block out my non-negotiable times versus my negotiable times. I have to spend time and lock in if that means getting like turning my phone on D&D, getting rid of distractions, turning off the TV. I have to do it. And I think it's just or literally what life is about is taking the time to organize things in categories. How am I going to tackle these big tasks down? So say for instance, the marketing project that we had at the end with it was this big marketing plan. That was probably one of the most fun projects that I ever did. I had blocked off the proper time to be able to split the project in half. So I was really done with most of what I was supposed to be done with. So by the time I was ready to turn it in, I was just like, yes, yes, yes. And I think that it genuinely does just like making yourself aware of what you have to do. Like, yo, I have to work this such time. Let me plan my week ahead. So I think just being very, very proactive and not being reactive. Find a way, not an excuse. That's one of my like life mantras.
that's awesome. Being mindful. That's incredible. Thank you for that. And
Yes.
we're on the last one, and then we'll jump into Q&A.
Okay.
And right now, you talked about some courses, some assignments before, and we appreciate that. In terms of what you learned in your courses, right? And how are you applying them, or you see that you're applying them right now in all the professional aspects of your music career, in the industry that you're in right now? How are you applying what you learned from your courses to your professional life now in the industry?
How am I applying it? It's literally like in real time, and I don't realize until after the fact. So, say for instance, with the production company, we're bringing on new interns. So I'm having to actually write the actual contracts. So it's just like when you realize, okay, I remember this from this class. I remember how the process goes of certain agreements. What are the certain stipulations I have to add in? Just using those as like references. And when you've actually like studied and retained the information, I would say it just happened. It just flows naturally. Kind of, it's like a stagger of all the skills that you learned over the years, like being in I guess the stepping stones.
Hmm,
Each step that you take up, it's like I've seen this before. I can apply this. So I would have to say it just takes the action of doing. It's
hmm,
one thing to read something, but you have to find a way to immerse yourself in your community as well,
hmm.
because there's always something going on, whether that's music wise, whether that's like a way to just be of service. And I think that that's what being in the music industry comes down to, networking as well. So I would say my networking skills is how I've been able to really use what I've learned and apply it, because people see not only can you talk a good game, you have to back it up. So
Hmm.
I'm just a person of action. Did that answer that? Because I know how is like such a broad subject.
It is, and there were so many courses that you take with us, and there's so much to learn in each course, so it's
Yes.
hard to pin it down. But an overall, yes, you answered it, and you're able to apply it now, whatever situation that you're in, and you keep learning as you go. So what did you say in the beginning? A student of the game? I've heard that
Yeah,
before.
just being a
You were
student of the game.
That's it. That's it. So I
Awesome.
thank you so much for your perspective. It was incredible. And thank you for all that you do still as one of our alumni, which you'll always be. And we are just happy to have another champion out there that's doing us proud. Serona and Ray, I would love to ask you to come back on camera, please. We are now, we don't have a lot of time, but we will get into any Q&A, any questions that may have come in.
Come back, Jada. You're here too, in case they have a question for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Appreciate that, Serona. So I think we may have answered Serona, your part was very amazing as always. So we've answered everything, but I will say from both of you, Ray and Serona, did anything jump out at what Jada said? I love how she mentioned that school was an outlet, like grad school is an outlet. I know it's not for everyone, but that was such a great perspective. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's, if you love learning, and I love learning, like it's insane because I did a master's, I did a law degree. 2 years ago, or a year ago, I did a certificate in instructional design. Like I signed up for an online program
Yeah,
because I
that's
just love learning. And
awesome.
now I'm taking something that has helping me learn more about how to teach with AI. I think if you love learning, it is an escape from the grind of the day, right? Everybody wants something from you. The boss wants a response. Your kids are like, I need this. And if you can carve out the time to just like flip on a different switch in your brain and learn something that interests you and sparks your passion, it is like a treat. I mean, it's work, you got to get stuff done,
Yeah.
but you can really enjoy that time. So I love that idea, that way of putting it. Thank you for that, Jada.
Ray, any last thoughts?
No, that was amazing, and it's Jada, pretty exciting the journey that you're on. It looks like you're working with a pretty cool up and coming company right now, and with somebody that has a lot of background in the business already. So
Yes.
that's always amazing. So again, we're available for any questions. I do want to reinforce again what Serona said about our network and especially our LinkedIn group. Our program, like I said, goes back into the 1960s. I was just at a rehearsal last night with somebody I just met a few weeks ago that was in this program actually before I was in school. and has done some pretty interesting things in the industry that I, just like, wow, places people end up. So our network goes really far back, and it's very wide and very deep, and that's a huge piece of who we're all about. And we'd love people to consider being part of that family.
And I think the critical thing to keep in mind is that family is the same, whether you're in our online degree or on campus
Right.
degree,
That's
right?
right.
The answer is, oh, you studied music industry at Frost, so did I. There's no like, oh, I was in the online, I was on campus. Just no, it's one family, right? It's
Right.
just a different learning modality. That's all. But the network is the same. The professors are the same. We attend a number of music industry conferences, and we've generally try to gather the alumni there somewhere to see, who might be there, meet up. And that is always a mix of students who studied in online or on campus. And I don't even know half the time. Like, I know you were my student. Remind me which one it was in. So, I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind as you're thinking about the program. We view that community as one big community, without any distinctions about the particular modality that you happen to have completed the degree.
That's right. That's right.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Serona. Thank you. We are done for the day. Everyone pack up and go home. Amazing.
Mic drop.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. And thank you, Ray. Thank you, Jada, for being in here and for spending time with us. Everyone who has joined this webinar, reach out to us. We're here for you. And without further ado, my partner, Omar, come on back with us and close us out.
All right, thank you. Awesome. So we have a number of resources for our students. Same type of resources and access that you would have if you were on campus, from the Topple Career Center, which has a lot of different opportunities to um, job interview prep, different opportunities that might be available to you. You'll see disability services as well, Launchpad for entrepreneurship, also mentorship as well. There's an association as well for the graduate school, online library, and all these different types of services we have to make you not only just have a holistic experience, but really mimic the same type of experience that you would have on campus. And in regard to the admissions process, very straightforward. Of course, your transcript, we can use your unofficial transcripts for admissions purposes, and we wouldn't need your official ones till later. 2 letters of recommendation, up-to-date resume, personal statement. For those of you that are interested in FAFSA, that's something that you can apply to right away. Of course, any specific questions you might have, the enrollment advisors are here to help you with that. And lastly, the submission of your online application. And it's coming up very quick, Monday, August 11th, the final deadline. So we encourage you to try to get all of those components completed as spaces are limited. And there is an opportunity to get the $300 deposit fee waived as well. And of course, as I mentioned before, we're here to assist you either through the number. And for those of you that are ready, you're ready to go with the process, we even have a QR code for you at the bottom. Now, before we let you go, I want to say thank you to all of our wonderful panelists today. And for the rest of you out there, we hope to see you soon as a future King. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.